Welcome to BNP Paribas Fortis. 1 year ago, we were here presenting how employee representative perceives social dialogue in 8 European countries.
Since then, the Neire network has grown with 3 more countries, and we are now here to tell you a bit more about the employer's perspective on how to innovate in social dialogue.
I'm Valeria Pulignano, I'm Professor in Labour Sociology and Industrial Relations at the KU Leuven, and I'm going to talk very briefly about Belgium. Belgium is based on a strong institutionalized system of social dialogue, which, despite the pressure it has been facing since the last years, still remains quite stable. What about the HR practices and HR particularly kind of perception regarding employee representatives? Well, HR underlined 3 main points. The first point is that they would like to simplify the structures within which social dialogue, particularly at the company level, is embedded between employers and employees. They would like also to establish much higher coordination and communication with employee representatives. They basically recognize the fact that employee representatives, they have good ability and also good competencies, but they would like also to be engaged together with the trade unions in training probably them in order to create an informal context where dialogue can be enhanced, particularly in order to create a more innovative social dialogue for change in Belgium.
I'm Hans-Jan Limborg from the Danish leg of the Neire 2 project. Denmark has a long, more than 100 years old tradition for social dialogue and central agreements on the labour market. However, the HR managers we interviewed raise a new voice that favour development rather than tradition. They're critical towards the structure of negotiation and collaboration on company level and on union level. They find it conservative, they find it inflexible. They want the representatives to take more part in business development. They find that they need skills within communications and especially within business strategy. They would request for the unions to train their representatives more thoroughly in issues like this. And they even consider whether the companies should take part of this training as well, maybe in joint collaboration with the unions.
Hello everyone, my best greetings from windy Tallinn in this autumn. I am Professor Mart Eichmann from Tallinn Technical University, and I represent Estonia in Neire study. Main employer representation at workplace were union, and since 2007 employer representatives can be elected as well. And this way it is much more popular in Estonia. But in Estonia, the membership of trade union clearly decreased, and the membership is very, very small. Actually, 8.1% of all labor are members of trade unions. And there are not very many works council as well. And what I want to say is that, however, still the majority of Estonian employees are not represented at all, not in union and nor in the works council. For the majority of employees in Estonia, working condition and particular pay are fixed in direct discussions and negotiations between the employer and the individual employee as ideals and psychological contracts. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Aurélien Cosson. I'm professor at ESSEC Business School in Paris, and I'm in charge of the Neire research in France. In this country, deep political features rooted in history and culture have left little room for negotiation and cooperative social dialogue. Just to give you an example, since 1950 until very recently, the state had organized a de facto monopoly for 5 trade unions, no matter how many employees would join them. and the density, trade union density in Europe, as measured by the OECD, is below 8%, which is the lowest rate in the OECD, with the exception of Turkey. Now, in 2008, a law changed that. Do we yet see improvements? Well, not really, according to the result of the survey through Neire. If we look at the key indicators pertaining to trust, relationship towards conflict, even commitment to the organization, the employers perceive the employee representatives significantly below the European average. And when we analyze the interviews, expectations are very high. French employers would like to have true partners across the table, better equipped to analyze and contribute to the understanding of the challenges and the management issues that the companies face in a fast-moving company. Voila for now, and there's much more to come in the book. Bye-bye.
Good morning, my name is Michael Whittle from the Technical University in Munich and also the coordinator into the study of social dialogue amongst German managers. German managers portray themselves as having a positive view of works councils. They see works councils as being the solution to problems rather than the cause of problems. For many years, the system of employee relations known as Model Deutschland has promoted social dialogue. Social dialogue can be interpreted here as being a commitment on both sides to managing conflict. Hence, both sides accept the relationship that they have to each other is a pluralist relationship. In turn, management also understands that the system, if it is to be sustained, requires the need for works council members to be kept up to date, namely their competence levels have to be kept up to date in line with business developments. Hence, management are committed on a daily basis to actually communicating with works councils to discern what the problems that they are faced with, but also discerning how they can improve their skill sets to sustain the system. Thank you very much.
Good morning, I'm Giovanni Passarelli, the coordinator for Italy. I'm a researcher in sociology of work at the University of Calabria. In Italy, the main representative body of employees at the plant level are the so-called unitary workplace union structure, introduced by tripartite agreement of July 1993. The unitary workplace union are essentially union body, even if they are largely elected by all employees. We can summarize the main survey of results as follows. Each HR manager considers the structure of employee representative adequate and efficient. They think also that ER are on the average competent on issues that are strictly related to work organization. ER, always according ER managers, are cooperative and open to contractual and organizational innovation. However, small unions are less cooperative and less open to the change. ER managers believe that to improve the climate of industrial relations, trade unions should select their workers' representatives with better criteria, such as, for example, younger representatives who have a higher level of education, and they should invest on the training of their representative. Underlying this suggestion, there is the idea that more competent they are, have a broad view of the problems and can see beyond the immediate issue which may be strictly related to work organization. Such ER would also be more open to change and less conflictual, and thus more propositive in their negotiation. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Aukje Nauta. I'm a professor of organizational psychology at the University of Amsterdam, the Netherlands. I'm also a member of the Social Economic Council, in which one of my roles is to stimulate employee participation. Employers sometimes complain about the competencies of the Works Council members, and therefore they try to really experiment with new ways of employee participation. For example, I talked to a CEO of a small business, and she perceives employee participation not as a right, but as an obligation, in which it is possible for employees to really develop themselves. And therefore, this CEO established a totally new way of employee participation, in which management information is discussed very openly, much more than is obligated by law. Which is really a good thing and smart thing to do, because our research shows that when there is trust and open dialogue between employers and the Works Council, then it is much more possible to make flexible, modern agreements that meet the needs of both the employer and the employees.
Good morning, I'm Barbara Kożusznik, Country Coordinator from Poland, from University of Silesia in Katowice. The most significant to create a social dialogue in Poland was the foundation of the independent, self-governing trade union, Solidarity. In August 80, the foundation of the Solidarity was a great step towards building a social dialogue in Poland and the big role of labor unions. That's why the employee representatives in Poland are mostly labor unions. According to employers, there is a low business awareness of the employee representatives as well as of its value in constructive social dialogue. The Polish workers seem not to be aware that they have opportunity to take part in decision-making process through their representatives. The conclusion is that we should improve the system of the election of employee representatives, that they are the authentic representation of the whole group of workers, not only of the labor unions. We should emphasize the role of employee representatives not only in protection of the workplaces, but in common activities to improve effectiveness of organizations. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ana Passos and I'm the Portuguese coordinator of this project. Portugal is now, like other countries, in a strong economic crisis that of course have important implications for the social dialogue at the national context. The results of this study reveal that for human resource managers, employees' representatives need to be less ideological and more professional. There is a need to change the profile of employees' representatives. They need to become younger, more academic qualified and aware of the social change that are going on in the Portuguese society. There is a need for more flexible and innovative view of the social dialogue. Human resource managers also point out the need for a more open attitude of employees' representatives. They still have a very partial view of organization life. They aim at protect the workers without thinking about organizational sustainability. Despite all these suggestions and strong economic constraints, there is still a positive social dialogue in most of Portuguese organizations. Thank you.
I am Lourdes Munduate, country coordinator of Spain for this project. There is a key differential issue of the Spanish profile that has to do with the context of crisis and economic recession that the country is currently going through. There is an additional large opposition in labor relations, together with a trend towards the use of very competitive strategies of conflict management. Employers in Spain indicate the need for empowering worker representatives by improving their competences related with the dynamic of the organization together with the professionalization of their role. The main conclusion from employers is that they are looking forward to a historical transition from one model based on distrust, control and systematic antagonism to a model where they can work with competent partners who have a strategic vision of the organization, with whom they can work vis-a-vis with transparency in a constructive and innovative dialogue in issues of common interest. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Arjen Keizer from the Manchester Business School, and together with Miguel Martinez-Lucio, I've been responsible for the UK part of the Neire study. The UK is known for its adversarial industrial relations, as suggested by its classification as a liberal market economy. And as such, there is no tradition of social dialogue like we would be able to find in many of the European countries of the continent. This was also illustrated by our findings, with the position of work councils or worker forums much less formalized than in those European countries. That being said, we found a wide and interesting diversity in structures for social dialogue, with a clear distinction between public organizations in the public sector and more commercial organizations as such. Within this diversity, we could probably distinguish various groups. As mentioned, there are those in the public sector which still have strong union structures. There are the large multinationals which combine both structures on the European level and specific UK structures. And there are smaller organizations in the UK which often have more informal structures in terms of employee boards and employee councils. The findings are particularly interesting because this diversity sort of counters many of the associations when it comes to social dialogue in the UK and give a much richer picture than was suggested by the classification as a liberal market.